What's up, fine folks of YouTube and Patreon and wherever else you might be watching?
Yo, yo.
So there was absolutely no tech news that happened after CES. I mean, nothing went out. I was having people guess what we was going to talk about today. What happened after CES?
Don't mind me. All right. I mean, besides, the broligarchy.
So we will get into it in just a minute here. One more minute till we go live. I wish that StreamYard would actually, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I wish you could go live before you actually go live. Because not so much on YouTube. YouTube pretty much starts 20 seconds, 30 seconds after you hit the go live. If that's usually as much as it will ever take. Sometimes it's as quick as 5 or 10 seconds. Twitch, not so much. So a lot of times when you start live streams on Twitch, if the folks didn't have time to actually get it to work, to hit refresh, to get in real time, it's just that you'll have a bunch of people watching at different points in the video by as much as like 30, 40, 50 seconds, which messes up the chat because people will be answering chats and posting questions that, are coming just out of order.
Right.
So one of the things a lot of people do is they'll actually go live for 5 or 10 minutes just so people can join, particularly on Twitch, and everybody gets synced up before they go live. And we've been asking StreamYard for that ability for a while, and they haven't done it. But anyway, excuse me. It is our agreed meeting time. So let's go ahead and jump into this show. I will count us in 3, 2. Today is Monday, January 20th, 2025. This is episode 162 of the Tech Jawn. Today we're going to be talking about the TikTok ban, and maybe we'll get to President. We got to say president now because he's no longer elect. President Trump's meme coin and the broligarchy. We got a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about this week. All for you in, as I said, episode 162 of the Tech Jawn. From Columbus, Ohio, I'm your host, Rob Dunwood.
And coming out of Philly is your girl, Tech Life Steph.
And out of Atlanta, this is Terrence Gaines, a.k.a. Brother Tech, a.k.a. Happy MLK Day to you all, whether you served or rested. I just want to say happy MLK Day. Just want to let you know who the reason is for the season.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So in honor, I got my Black Panther hoodie. I got my Black Unity Apple Watch band. So I'm just showing my solidarity visually. No,
I got my Inkwell. I felt like that was blackety black. My Inkwell sweatshirt.
I got my Snoopy t-shirt though. You can't see it, but it says whatever underneath. It does not say whatever. It says whatever. So But anyway,
black.
So y'all, I gotta say thank you for holding the show down last week while I was absentee. It was a good show. I tried to join at the beginning, so I don't think anybody but maybe our patrons know I tried to join at the beginning, and y'all like, nah, bruh, you got to get up out of here. Your connection is horrible. So
that raggediness.
But anyway, thank you for holding down the show for us, or for me in my absence. I really appreciate that, and it was a good conversation. I was living vicariously through you, Steph, even though I was at CES. So you know,
that's, you want to take a few minutes to give us your thoughts. I mean, because like I said, I had to leave on Tuesday, so I didn't really have a lot of the full experience to share with people. But you were there pretty much the whole week. So
yeah, I was there until Thursday. I left on Thursday because I had a vacation I needed to get to, but I had not been to CES. I think the last time I was there was maybe 2017. So it'd been a minute, and I hear folks that say that like the last few years, it's been, the pandemic really decreased it. They say this year it was definitely all the way back. It is back to being it. Depending on the year, it swaps back and forth with the auto show as being the number 1 or number 2 biggest convention in Las Vegas. So I think it was like 104,000 attendees to this one. 40, it was either 4,500 or 4,900 presenters. So 4,500. So it was massive. It's the entire convention center, the Venetian, a couple other hotels. So it was, I had a great time. I saw a lot. Because there's so much CES content out there, I won't do a lot of talk, but there is one thing. If you were to head over to Daily Tech News Show, and I'll actually find the exact episode and put it in the show notes. But there was a episode that we did where I actually got to talk to this company that makes something called Lily for. The company name is Lily for Life, and they make something called the Lily lamp. I have dyslexia, and this lamp actually it creates like a flicker refresh over top of text on just a paperback book or hardcover book. And for my type of dyslexia, one of the way it presents is that I can't keep my place on a line. So like most people, they'll read right to left. I don't. I read right, left, down, up, right, diagonal to the left, 72 degrees up to the right. It jumps all over. Now, over the years, I've learned how to deal with that. But this lamp from Lily for Life literally gave me, people are saying, oh, did it correct your dyslexia? No, my dyslexia is the way my brain is wired. It doesn't correct it, but it did give me, I would say, it made it easier to read. It made it easier to track, significantly so. I noticed it immediately. So that was probably the biggest thing that I saw, just because it was like a personal thing. It's something that actually helps me read. You know how people will say, I like to curl up with a good book or something like that and read it. I have never said that, nor will I probably ever, because for me, reading is not relaxing. I have to, I literally have to focus and really concentrate on reading. So it's not a relaxing thing for me. Therefore, I don't really read a lot of fiction, because it's like, okay, what am I getting out of that other than a good story? I can go watch a movie or watch a play to get that. I read technical manuals and journals and stuff like that to where I want to take something away from it, because it truly is work for me to read. So that was pretty cool.
Would you purchase it?
I would have given them money to take the thing they had on the table away if they legally could have. They're not licensed here yet.
Right.
And it is a medical device. So they could not sell it to me, and they can't sell it in the United States. One of the reasons they're here is they're trying to find distributors and trying to get approval to sell the thing here. But yes, I would have given them money for the lamp and for the app. Maybe not so much on the app. If it would have been a package, I would have done it. But the lamp itself, the physical piece of hardware that helped me actually read physical books, would have been the thing, because there's all kind of tricks. I actually have software that I use to read on computer screens a little bit more easily, and just being able to space lines further apart and all that kind of stuff helps. But you can't really space lines apart on a paperback. What you get is what you get. So that was the biggest thing. It was just a little piece of hardware that I liked, and it's like, oh, this is something that almost immediately changes my perception with reading. So that was what that was my CES.
Tech is supposed to do, right?
Yeah, makes things
for our benefit, make our lives easier.
Now I did have some time that you didn't have time for to actually walk through the Venetian and walk through, like, that's where like a ton of new stuff that's coming out is there. I went to the South Hall, which is where a lot of the companies from like Shenzhen and China are. And those folks don't generally get the people with the cameras and the microphones coming by to talk to them. So they are happy to have conversations. So I got all kind of stuff, microphones, mixers, earbuds, all kind of good stuff going through the South Hall and seeing some of the smaller vendors that were basically, instead of having the $1 million Sony booth or the $2 million Samsung booth, those kind of big booths, to where they literally just have like a table set up with some, with a banner and stuff sitting on the table that they want to show. So yeah, I had a couple, buddy of mine, we actually got to hang out there and, got some good stuff. So it was a good trip.
All right.
But I'm sure that the folks that are listening, and we should just mention that, normally our live stream and our after party are reserved just for our patrons. But we figured that with today being Martin Luther King Day, say it like my grandma used to say it. We have opened up our live stream and after party to everyone. So we probably have some new folks in the live stream that we don't necessarily see as regular. So welcome. Hope you like the show, the way that we do it for you, and maybe you'll become a patron at some point. But with that being said, there was some news this weekend. I don't know, just little news. A couple of publications picked it up. But yeah, TikTok was banned for about, and I have to use that word. Yeah, I have to use that word lightly. I think it was maybe 16 hours that it was banned. Now, I should say, technically, TikTok is banned. That ban went into effect on Sunday. It is in effect right now. So you cannot go to the App Store and download. You can't go to the App Store and download TikTok. You cannot go to the App Store or to Google Play and download it. Lemonade, I don't think is working. I don't think that at the time that we're doing this show, I don't think that CapCut's working. So there is a ban. So there definitely is a ban right now. But that doesn't mean that there was all kind of political theater that ByteDance is playing with the American people.
Man, so I was on no fewer than 3 different news segments last week talking about TikTok alternatives. And, kind of my ultimate sort of summary about the whole thing was that I did not believe that TikTok was going to get banned, and I would give my reasons and yada yada yada. And for like for a half a second, I was like, hold on, am I crazy? And was I just so off the mark with my prediction on this, with all of the things around Jeff Yass and none of the people who actually enacted the ban promising to actually enforce it. I was like, I know I'm not tripping. And then magically, as I said on one of my videos that I posted on Instagram, magically, of course, as soon as no sooner than you got that little notification about we're gonna have to pause, then it's welcome back, everybody. And I was just like, yo, this is just the con of the century, y'all.
So break it down. Tell us what your conspiracy theory is. What's the word on the streets? What's the tea leaves?
The thing I likened it to was the same way that we couldn't get our COVID relief checks until Donald Trump was able to sign them with his name to make it seem like he gave them to us. Because there's people out there right now today that still think Donald Trump was the one responsible for the quote unquote COVID stimmy. Yeah. And that is not true at all. And I feel like this feels very much like that same thing because, even up to like 11 p.m. Saturday night, Shu Zichao, the president of TikTok, was on TikTok talking about we are happy that we are going to be collaborating with our next president to do this, that, and the third. Biden said he's not enforcing it. Pam Bondi, who's going to be the next attorney general, says she's not enforcing it. Donald Trump was, I'm going to save, quote unquote, TikTok. Like everything pointed to there not being any interruption of service on the platform going into today. And, that little hiccup that they put in there on purpose, I think was so that today, when Trump signs whatever executive order he needs to sign to quote unquote save TikTok, he gets credit for that. I think that's all that was. That's literally all that was.
So political theater.
Political theater, a little hiccup to get people all riled up. Oh my God.
Oh, got it.
And then here he comes swooping in to quote unquote save the day.
What I wanted to believe was this was TikTok shooting a warning shot. It's like, yo, we could shut this down anytime we want to. Just to let you know, this is a test of the emergency broadcast system, to let you know we could turn this thing off. So y'all better act right. But then they turned it right back on. I was like, well, never mind.
Well, and then let me pull up my hold on, because it wasn't that, because of all of the mention of Donald Trump. So when they shut it down, it was sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the US. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. So he was mentioned in the notification when they took it offline, and then when they brought it back, welcome back. Thanks for your patience and support. As a result of President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back in the US. You can continue to create, share, and discover all the things you love about TikTok. I screenshot both of those notifications because I was like, this is just the biggest pile of bullshit I have ever seen. It's so ridiculous.
Was the TikTok CEO talking out the side of his neck prior to this? Or did he finally just decide I got to go along to get along?
I got to go. I think he decided I got to go along to get along.
So here's what I think. So I don't know if y'all knew this, but we got a new president today, about 12:01, got sworn in. And one thing that we know about the current person that is inhabiting the White House right now, he probably is at a party somewhere, so I don't know if he's actually at the White House right now. But Donald Trump is finessable. If you give him accolades,
for sale to the highest bidder.
Yes. If some folks have called him a narcissist. I'm not a psychologist, and I've never talked to the man personally to tell you that, but some people say that he has some narcissistic tendencies. And one thing that narcissists like is to be praised. And one of the things that, has been clear over Donald Trump's history is that if it doesn't work, if he doesn't like you, but if he kind of likes you, and usually liking you is he can get something from you. He can get money from you. He can get things that are ultimately going to get money from you. He can get things that are ultimately going to get things that can get money from you. That's kind of the common theory there, or the common theme. That he is finessable. You can grease him. You basically can give him accolades, and only you, President Trump, can get this done. We tried doing this for the last 270 days, and we moved nowhere because we said we weren't going to sell, and that's what the law says we need to do. But we know when you come in that we'll actually say that we'll sell now, and you're going to get this thing done. So. I'm not really being facetious. I mean, this is literally what I think that the CEO of TikTok, Xiao is doing. I think that he's like, okay, let's try this. Can we grease? Can we finesse the current president? Can we figure out a way to get some money into his people?
So unless they admit egg on their face and say, we really don't care about the data. We just want, whatever the case may be. What can
you mean our government? What can they do to save face?
No. What sort of agreement does TikTok, outside of just still being able to run in the United States? The whole thing, the only way TikTok was to remain running is if they sell off the American version of it and keep all that data on American soil and American servers and give up the algorithm to whatever the case may be. What new agreement that Donald Trump can put up that doesn't include those, what's the point for TikTok running in American? Right.
So,
under the new law. Yeah.
Nothing.
I think
and honestly, really nothing can change. So,
but I think if they can do, because I know there was like a whole 50-50 split proposed, I think that would appease enough senators and whomever else to get this done. And I think they can get that done, honestly.
So here's what let's go back to 9 months ago. When this was actually, let's even go back further than that. Let's go back to when Donald Trump was first in office. And one of the things that my man said was he was banning TikTok. Went as far to put an executive order in place that effectively banned TikTok in the United States. So here's the thing. One of the things we have to look at is that what is that syndrome when you start a fire and then you save everybody by putting the fire out that you started? That's kind of where this is. I mean, so. Although he's for it now, he was definitely against it to the extent that my man did an executive order banning TikTok when he was in office the first time. When did Trump started to change on this? It was, oh, wait, I got supporters who are very well invested in ByteDance.
Mm-hmm.
And they saying it's cool. Okay, well, if they think it's cool, I like money, so if it's cool for them and they got money, maybe it'd be cool for me and I can get some. So
and also in addition to the money, I just want to add this too, because Chow mentioned it in his video on TikTok. He got something like 60 billion views of his own content on that platform. You know what I mean? So it's the money, but it's also the recognition. And you know, Rob, you speak to his ego and the narcissism. Like that type of attention is enough of a motivator for him as well, to save the platform. So I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
So yeah, so we just go back there. But let me just finish this. So this. And what people don't understand is that this isn't not something that we decided to do Sunday. This is something that we have been talking about for 4 years, since he was first in administration in his first term. And they finally got together and in a very, very bipartisan way, passed a bill into law 9 months ago. And then there was a 270-day window that ByteDance had to work with regulators, to work with whomever they needed to work with to sell off the American part of TikTok. That's what the law basically was saying. And what TikTok did was, and what they did poorly by what a lot of legal scholars are saying is that they just, nope, we're just going to let this get to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to take care of us. And earlier,
they didn't make a great case. I watched some of that on C-SPAN. They did not make a great case. They did not make a great case.
So when it got to the Supreme Court, and it started looking like, even if the Supreme Court didn't put his ruling out, but when it started looking like, when you look at the kind of questions that the justices are asking, and just the lack of ability for TikTok to be able to answer them, it started looking like it don't look like we're going to be able to keep running up in here. So at that point, TikTok said, well, if the Supreme Court does not say that we can stay running, then we may just have to shut down. So they put this out earlier last week. Why? Because it's like, oh, this is really coming. This isn't the government shutting TikTok down. TikTok shut itself down on Saturday.
Yes.
So why would they do that? Because it's like, if we do that, we're going to get people up in arms, because the law never said that people couldn't keep TikTok on their phone and couldn't keep running. The law never said that. What the law said was that Oracle, basically Oracle, Google, and Apple, you couldn't continue to provide services and allow people to download TikTok from your app store. That's I'm bastardizing it, but that's basically what the effect is. Where we are right now, you cannot go and download TikTok from an app store. There's certain things you can't do. There's some issues that some people are having on TikTok, and that's where the law is actually coming in. What TikTok did was, nope, we want everybody to be up in arms, so let's just go ahead and shut this down, because there's not going to be enough outrage if people wake up Sunday morning and the app still works the way that it was working the day before. So we need to shut it down to get the things moving, and at the same time, we can also finesse the incoming president and hopefully get him to, I'm going to come in and solve it. And he's already said he's going to do. I think that it's probably very likely I'm going to do 90 days. And so one of the things I actually said on one of the social media platforms, I can't even remember which one at this point, is that I wonder if for Trump's administration, because I don't necessarily give him this credit to think this far ahead and through on things, but one of the things that I am kind of wondering, is this a test case just to see what can we get away with? You have
Absolutely.
Folks have told me before, it's like, well, we decide not to enforce laws all the time. And that is absolutely true. But this is a little bit different in this particular case, because you now have a president who is saying that there is a law that is in place. Trump had nothing to do with the law other than getting it started when he was in office the first time. But this is a law that was passed back in April of last year. The law says these are the things that have to happen. The law says
there are still some senators and congresspeople that are warning ByteDance that they will continue to pursue the letter of this law. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not just a matter of not being able to download TikTok. Internet service providers are also at risk of being caught up in this as well. So there are some legitimate consequences that I think, the tech industry part of this needs to consider beyond just what Donald Trump says he's going to do.
Well, so that's where I wanted to get to. So where what Donald Trump is banking on is that there is a carve out in the law that if TikTok is actively working with the U.S. government to facilitate a sale, then you could extend 90 days.
Right.
So the theory is that, oh, well, that's where Trump's going to come in. The problem is that they didn't reach. They weren't doing that. At no point did TikTok ever give, any indication that it was going to try to sell itself, which is what the law says it has to do. So that loophole doesn't kick in until now.
They were going to lose, though.
They didn't think they were going to lose.
They did not think they were going to lose, and even Justice Neil Gorsuch said in his opinion that they were rushed. The Supreme Court was rushed. I think, like I said, just all of the conspiracy and the political theater of all of this, they pushed that Supreme Court to make this decision before I think Donald Trump came into office. Now, why of that is beyond my, pay grade. But he said, had we had more time to analyze these issues and things like that, there may have been a different decision made. So it just stinks.
The thing is, though, Steph, with that, I hear him saying that, but they're acting like the decision was made this weekend. It wasn't. The decision was made in April. The decision was that we're going to have 80% of Congress is going to overwhelmingly, in a bipartisan way, pass a bill and send it to the president's desk that said that, well, if you pass it, or if you send it to my desk, I will sign it. That's when they should have been, before they sent that bill up, if they were thinking about these things, that's when they should have been doing. It's like now this, it's like buyer's remorse. It's like, oh, you put this law into place and now you're hemming and hawing because you're figuring, oh, wait a minute, a lot of people really like TikTok. Well, you know what? A lot of people really like TikTok 9 months ago. So now I'm not going to get into whether or not the bill or the law is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. It is the law now. The law says that this is what has to happen. So what I'm guessing is that the administration will figure out, oh, well, wait a minute, China, or I should say ByteDance is working with us. So we can throw in that 90-day reprieve.
And you can say anything to make that argument. If you had one conversation.
Well, here's why I'm going to say it. China has reversed their stance on selling TikTok. This is right from the Wall Street Journal. So up until this point, China has been ByteDance. And it's funny that I keep saying China. And the reason that we're saying is because the Chinese party has say in this. So it's ByteDance, but it's China. They actually are the ones who have some say in this because this is it is a Beijing based company, but they have just now yesterday reverse their stance
magically
on potentially selling TikTok. And now there's been rumors that there have been talks with even going back into late last year with Elon Musk and this and that and the other, that they've been having these talks. The White House administration just went out and said they weren't having with us. So there's nothing we could do. If you were having to talk with us, maybe we could have, put the 90-day extender in there because we actually see that there could be an outcome that is going to meet the criteria for the law that was passed legally. By the way,
it was a setup. Terrence, what you think?
So like I said, we're going to see. Terrence, I'll let you get in because I've been talking for a long time. But what are your thoughts?
Well, no, I just want, again, my question still remains. What, now that they're working together, whatever that means, having conversations, having talks, whatever that is, and this is, Stephanie, you kind of made mention to it, was TikTok or ByteDance always like, well, we ain't got to worry about it because the ban will never go into place, but their hard stance on, well, we're never going to sell, we're never going to give up this, we're not going to do that, we've tried to work with y'all on other stuff, but what we not going to do is sell to whatever the case may be, right? So now that the ban has, nothing happened, Supreme Court didn't rule on it, they didn't turn it around, whatever the case may be. So now they're at that deadline. So now is TikTok okay with selling the company? Like somebody like Stephanie mentioned, them being maybe considering selling 50% of its interest or whatever the case may be. But even 50% is still 50% of data or involvement, not even data, involvement,
still Chinese
involvement.
Yeah.
If the whole point was we don't want zero involvement and TikTok was like, we ain't selling, the whole point of this ban in the first place, protect Americans' data, get it out of Chinese hands because of spying and all that stuff. What was that?
I think it was a game of chicken. And both sides had to blink, if that makes any sense. So, the United States kind of didn't necessarily blink. I think it was a game of chicken, and it came all the way down to the wire. And ByteDance eventually had to blink because it's like at the end of the day, I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think that American creator outrage would have been enough to save this platform. You know what I mean? Completely. You know what I'm saying? I think this little bit of theater, again, getting all the way up to the point where the Supreme Court pushed this through, even without the proper consideration and everything, getting up to that point and then seeing that, okay, they're serious. So now what can we do to maintain some level of autonomy, but also keep this market? Because I was, as like I said, I did a few segments last week and I was researching. This has happened to TikTok before. They are not in India right now for this same reason. You know what I mean? And that's like 200 million. They had an active daily user number of 200 million people. So it was a very similar situation. And they just said, bet we're out. You know what I mean? Peace out. I don't think they have the luxury of doing that here. I don't know that they had enough. If as large as India is, I don't know that they were seeing the same revenue numbers there as they are here. And I just don't think they have the hubris, I guess, to let the American market go. I think they thought that this was all gonna end up how it, they ain't really going to. But at the end of the day, America was like, yes, we are, and this is what happened. And now you have to kind of backtrack and save face.
So TikTok got to give it all up. They're gonna have to sell. And because there's no part of, halfway.
Well, something's going to have to happen. Yeah. Because it's a law. The law is the law. And
the law is the law.
You can extend the ban or suspend the ban for as long as you can get away with using that loophole. But at the end of the day, the law is still the law. So they're going to have to do something.
Yeah. So basically, in my opinion, what TikTok did was we're gonna ride on. We ain't doing jack until the Supreme Court makes a decision.
Have to. Yeah.
And then I think they thought like a lot of us thought. I think Steph. I don't think that this is not going to happen because it's just we're just going to waffle. We were thinking that it's like okay, dude, Biden paid for a whole 3 people on the Supreme Court. They go go with what he wants. They did not. They went with it's like there's no legal basis for us not to allow this law to stand up. They ruled on it, and now TikTok is like, oh wait a minute, this is gonna happen tomorrow. Let's go ahead and shut it down tonight. Let's get everybody upset and then let's make Trump look great. Let's finesse this joker to the extent that we can. So
what can they get out of it?
Only I can bring can bring this back.
What can who get out of it? TikTok?
TikTok get out of it if they still got to sell at the end of the day.
Well, because I think they don't have to sell I don't think they're going to sell. I mean, I don't know how you sell an algorithm, but I don't think they're going to sell the algorithm. I think they're going to. I don't know that the org chart at TikTok is going to change at all. I mean, TikTok's US operations are based in the United States already. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know that much changes except for a couple more people get a little bit richer because now they can claim stake in the company. You know, I think Elon Musk gets a little richer. I think maybe Kevin O'Leary gets a little richer. You know, some folks at Palantir. There's a laundry list of people waiting in line to buy some of it, buy a piece of it. So
and then after that, all the Chinese data that supposedly, even with the Americans already, you know, a lot of the data is over here, and TikTok has already said. So that whole still argument, like no,
that was never,
that just goes away, right?
That was everybody, never the real
everybody
issue.
just says
that yes, that's how I see it happening.
So the reason for this, and I do believe this, like I said, not to get into whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing that we passed a law, we did pass a law, but the reasons for it, because having a security background, I do understand why they're doing this. What they're worried about, they're not even worried about so much Chinese getting your data, because they already got it.
Right. Whether or not it was legit,
as does every other platform that operates.
The government saw what happened with Cambridge Analytica. There are people who are running stuff who feel like, ooh, I think this election may have been swayed in 2016 based off of what Facebook was doing.
It's a legitimate argument.
It is, absolutely.
And what the government is saying is that we can never allow our biggest adversary on earth right now is China. We cannot allow our biggest adversary that if they were to do what Cambridge Analytica did, there's no evidence that they've done it, but they have the ability to, and we just simply cannot allow that. That's where the national security issue comes in. And they're like, no, we just can't simply not allow this. So that's why the ban is there, where people agree with that or don't agree with it. But that's what it is. It's like,
but again, it's so disingenuous, because Cambridge Analytica happened on an American company's platform, and we have not done anything to Meta.
That American company.
Meta has not faced any scrutiny, consequence, punishment, fine. They've scrubbed their freaking trust and safety teams. There's no content. So you're going to see all kind of random ass content on that platform now. And nobody's saying anything.
This is what I keep saying about this. We are so caught up in the whataboutisms of this. And there is this is what it is. If Meta is an American company, that's our mess. X is an American company. That's our mess. You can even look at some other social media that might be based out of Europe. They're allies. That's kind of our mess. The stuff that is coming from China, they are not our friends. That is not our mess. And we are not going to allow that, our biggest global competitor have a tool where they could do some Cambridge Analytica stuff. That's all that this is about. Like I said, all the other stuff, Stephanie, I completely agree with you, but I just understand the practical nature of where the senators and the Congress are coming from. We just didn't allow that to happen.
Rob, you make a perfectly good point. But again, the agreement between ByteDance and TikTok, how does that agreement answer that problem that we cannot allow China to get in our mess? Right. How does it serve it if they don't have to sell 100% of the company? They don't have to sever. They don't have to sever.
We don't know what the answer is yet. That was just something that was just talked about. We have no idea. This is stuff that should have been happening. These conversations that literally started happening after the Supreme Court ruled, and maybe even started before the Supreme Court ruled back in December, if we were to believe some of the reports about what Elon Musk. These conversations should have started happening in April. And TikTok's like, well, wait a minute. We think that we have a favorable court. Let's just run this thing, because from their standpoint,
run the clock out.
What is the downside of running the clock out? If we're going to have to sell it, what difference does it make if we sell it today or sell it a month from today? Well, we got 9 more months to make all the money we can make. So I think that that's part of what is happening here. Now, I did want to dig into the parts of this that are from a ByteDance standpoint that are really disingenuous, because they absolutely made it seem Saturday like what they did, the shutdown, was because of the ban. And I want to be clear on this. The law that actually is preventing that is preventing TikTok from existing here without being sold never banned TikTok. What it did was, as I said, it banned some services that Oracle were supporting TikTok, and it banned the ability for Americans to download the application from the app stores. The application itself continues to run. How do we know? Everybody that's using TikTok right now is using it while TikTok is banned. People actually think the ban has gone away. No, the ban has not gone away. The ban is actually in place. Go try to download TikTok. You cannot from Apple or from Google. You can't right now. The law is preventing
what I need to have happen, though, just sidebar in all of this before we have to, wrap up, be coming up on time. I'm going to need CapCut to refund me for every day that I'm not able to get that. I have a pro subscription.
You better do a chargeback.
Yes, I have a pro subscription to CapCut, and they are now with the same little notification that we're unfortunately banned, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, I'm gonna need CapCut to run me my money.
So yeah, that is another part of it. But I do want to talk about some of this other stuff that happened. And Steph, and one of your hits, you actually mentioned Lemonade.
Yeah.
About a place where people is going. Now, our friend of the show, Lamar Wilson, he said, Rob, be nice, because I actually did get some people behind when I said this, but it wasn't a good, you didn't think this through. If you decided that I'm going to show you American government, I'm going to get off of TikTok and I'm going to move all my data to Eliminate. This is an application owned by the exact same company that y'all got a problem with. I'm going to show you. And what happened? Eliminate is down and it's still down. I'm like, y'all, you had to know.
Everybody that's trying to get on Red Note, it's like, y'all really, it's a Chinese, like literally half that app is still in Mandarin. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be subject to the same scrutiny
I think people know that. I think this is just them trying to stick their nose at, again, the whole point of, well, if you so concerned about my data, then you need to be shutting down. We on Red Note. What you gonna do now? What you gonna do now? We over here. Now what you gonna do?
TikTok 170 million. Red Note 700,000 signed up in the last few days. Yeah, that's
not gonna be a problem. But
that's not gonna be a problem for the U.S. government.
No.
But that was just not a smart move, because it's the same issue that we're having here. We don't want that kind of data existing in Beijing's hands, and we don't want them to be able to do some type of propaganda campaign to swayable. Because one thing we know that you can, I hate to say this, but the truth is no longer the truth. The truth is what you can convince people of on social media.
Unfortunately, that's it.
I hate to say that, but it is. It's like, things that are, there are people, as you said this, there are people who think that the STEMI check that they got, because it had Donald Trump's name on it, that's who it came from. It's like, no, that came from the Obama administration.
And he withheld it.
He withheld it
until
he could put his name on it for weeks, maybe even months. It got held up, for that to happen. Now, some will say, well, that was a shrewd move by him. It's like,
no, it wasn't.
It was a grift. Basically, it's like, no, I won't take credit for something I didn't do. And now he's trying to disavow all the credit he had in this. It's like, you the one that started this was all started with his executive order when he was president the first time. And this is where all this came from. So
I will say, I had another side note real quick. If there are any developers listening right now, Mark Cuban has said he would fund a TikTok alternative or TikTok replacement if you build it on the AT protocol, on the same federated protocol that Blue Sky is built on. He has said he would fund, and I mean, I saw the video. He said it out of his mouth that, listen, if somebody wants to start thinking about what that looks like, I know there was, I just saw, because, Rob, I know you had put something in there about everybody now doing vertical video. I was kind of scrolling through the videos on on Blue Sky today. And I know there was one young woman who is building, I can't remember. I don't know if I saved it or not, but she's building something on that protocol. But listen, if you got your developer skills together, like Mark Cuban got some money for you. So, I mean, clearly we need something. And, fan base is trying, but I don't know what's gonna happen.
Can we talk about fan base for a second?
Okay.
Are both of y'all on fan base? Are each of you using fan base?
I'm not using it regularly, but I'm on there.
I chose Spill. Some people went fan base, some people went Spill. I went
I have a Skrill account as well, but I don't use it's too much. I can't absorb any more social media. I'm just like, I can't do it.
So friend of the show, Sierra Gross, remember she came on and she talked about her app that she got developed for HR.
Yeah.
With work receipts. She put out something on Threads or Blue Sky the other day, and she basically said that being a Black-owned company cannot be the only thing. It eventually can be a thing that gets you maybe over the hump, but it can't just be
just
that.
because I'm a Black-owned company.
Just because you're a Black-owned company, it can't be that. Yeah. And I am honestly trying. I'm giving fan base and Isaac Hayes III every benefit of the doubt. But bruh, your interface is not clean, man.
It's horrible.
It's hard to use.
Absolutely horrible. And that's what I said because I've, like I said, I did 3 news segments last week and I mentioned Fanbase in 2 of them as an alternative. However, I did say that it's going to be a little bit overwhelming because the app is trying to be so many things at once. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, if you want that one-stop shop for all of your app needs, because you got an Instagram feed, a TikTok feed, a Clubhouse radio station, like radio, everything, like maybe that is for you. And I think he said he was trying to add like a Twitter type of feed too.
Which is the thing people have been asking for years on the platform.
But we don't need all of that.
Pick one. You're not going to be a Twitter alternative, do that. If you're going to be
people to use the app because it has everything, because everybody doesn't want everything, everybody doesn't need everything all at once. So that was my thing. I was like, it could be something, if enough people decide to migrate. I mean, I know he's migrating people's stuff for free. I know that's a kind of an attractive
or do an umbrella company like Meta and Alphabet,
right? And
so where you got a fan base is the video, the tweet base is the
Twitter part. Split them all. Like the fact that it's all on that app,
too much.
It's too much.
Like I said, I really like the way she she put her post out. If we'll find it, we'll link it into our show notes at the end of the show. But it's like, just because you're a Black-owned company, that can't be the thing. Yeah, you have to be excellent. Right. And also be a Black-owned company.
Or at least just be good. Because right now it's like that user interface, that UX is like,
there's just so much there.
Cringy.
It's hard to use. It's hard to figure out how to follow people. And it's like, I say, okay, I'm just not the demographic for it. But as I keep going back, I keep seeing people say the same thing over and over again. It's like, bruh, like, I see Isaac Hayes on video after video after video. Oh, we hit $5 million. Oh, we're $5.5 million. Oh, we hit 600,000. Oh, we're moving
followers. Or you said followers, right?
Money.
He's right now.
He's
raising.
Got it. And it's like, I am for that. Do that, bro. But make sure at the same time you are rah-rahing your developers to get you a clean interface, because the thing right now is that I am trying to support fan base. But I'm just gonna be honest, the interface is not great. It's like
not. It's not, and you're not gonna get me over there on any sort of regular basis trying to drum up engagement if the user interface ain't working. And I say that too about all of these other apps that now have added this vertical video, like Blue Sky's vertical video, like Twitter X is trying to give, but you still don't have the
algorithm.
Well, not even the algorithm, the tools to make the video. Like the one thing TikTok has that none of these other platforms, you can create inside the TikTok app with tools that like are top of the line. Like between TikTok and CapCut together,
you can make some footage on your phone.
You can do anything with that stuff. Like, and it makes no sense at all. And Adam Mosseri over at Instagram is trying, because there's this new CapCut-esque feature but I'm like,
or something like that.
Reels has been out long enough that there's no way you should not have every single feature TikTok has in Instagram already to make your reels with. It makes no sense that there's no green screen functionality in Reels. Right. It makes no sense that there's no way to edit for real in real. Like it makes
search functionality.
Nothing. It makes no sense that none of y'all can get this functionality right that this one app and this one platform has.
Nailed it.
And it's easy, it's seamless, it's intuitive.
It's addictive.
It's everything. Like why? Like as much as industrial espionage is a thing, like why don't y'all have this yet? And that is going to always be American companies' downfall if y'all don't get on board with what the reason is people are using these apps for real.
Callback, or forgot a way to acquire them.
That's or that. Like do that. You've been
make
doing
them sell it.
You
sell off the US version.
Exactly. It's just like, but y'all like I don't feel like American companies understand how easy and powerful a tool TikTok is. And that's on you. That has nothing to do with an algorithm or China or data or privacy or anything. Y'all products suck right now. You know what I mean? So make better products and we won't have to worry about China at all because we'll be too busy using Reels. You know what I'm saying? Like make better products, period.
It is amazing to me that I understand there's tools like Filmora, Wondershare, and stuff like that. Filmora Go. There are tools that approximate some of the stuff that you can do with CapCut. But I am amazed that Google, Apple, Meta, Amazon, that they haven't just straight jacked that app yet. They just why have you not done this yet? It's like
it's so easy.
Are you worried about everybody's going to say, oh, well, all you did was rip this off from from this other app? It's like, yes, they're going to say that for a minute, but when you get critical mass and people are using it, they're not going to care. It's like, we all the time we hear, oh, that was an Android feature was before it was a Apple feature, and that was an Apple feature before it was an Android feature. It's like now most people just say, shut up with that. I don't care about that. It's a square piece of glass with a computer in it that lets me do cool stuff. I'm happy with it.
That's what everybody said about stories when stories first. Oh, you just ripped off Snapchat. So what? Now everybody's posts to stories, and Snapchat is where? Nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So like, just build some shit we can use. That's all. That's all you gotta do. Build some stuff we can use.
So I actually got on CapCut. I like you, Steph. I have the pro version of it just because it's like there's just so much more you can do with the pro, but you really don't need it. They give you quite a bit for free, but there's a lot of stuff.
The only reason I have pro is because they moved the captions into pro. Like they literally moved auto captions.
Oh, they understand their data. They understand their data. They understand their data.
Literally the only reason, because that's honestly all. I mean, I've started to use CapCut a little bit more now to actually add pictures and overlays and stuff, but I typically edit in Premiere because I'm paying for an expensive ass Adobe subscription. But I literally only used CapCut up to very recently for the captions. That was the only thing I needed it for.
I saw some people recently say, you know what, I can do a lot in this app. I mean, I was using Premiere, I was using DaVinci Resolve, I was using this other stuff, but there's so much that I can do in this app, and it just makes it easy because it's like,
and not only that, people have gotten, they've used TikTok enough to where the features are second nature. Trying to get them off of it onto something else.
You gotta have them. You gotta offer them something, a similar experience.
So for the longest, you'll see in Instagram, in Threads, in Twitter, in YouTube Shorts, and all these other videos, you'll see that little TikTok watermark on the videos
because they made it easy. Ben Compton is watching. He asked, with the TikTok ban, do you think Elon dropped the bag by not relaunching Vine?
No, I don't. It is not just developers getting together and creating a app that can give you vertical video. That's what a lot of people think TikTok is. That's not what TikTok is. TikTok is the algorithm where all the other platforms, they are based off of who follows you. So you see content based off of who follows you. With TikTok, what ByteDance and TikTok figured out is that how can we if we don't have literally billions of users using our platform, how can we get the same kind of reach that some of these other platforms are getting right off the jump? And they built this algorithm that is not based off of who you follow, it's based off the kind of content that you watch or the kind of content that you like. And that is different than everything else that exists. So,
and they've cornered the e-commerce market.
Yes.
Like TikTok Shop is killing everybody else right now. Like, when I tell you, I don't even want to go in and look at the amount of money I have spent
it's billions.
on TikTok Shop.
It's billions of dollars.
Like TikTok Shop is killing it. And that is the problem. Instagram tried to do Instagram Shop. Like, I don't know what
they're just not as good. They're simply just not as good.
And that is why all of these American companies are coming for TikTok and ByteDance's neck. It has nothing to do with privacy and data and misinformation. And we got all that here already. The money changing hands and being made on that platform right now is astronomical.
On top of the attention, on top of the potential reach,
right?
On top of
the fact that we can get real, true information from sources other than what our government wants to feed us. Like, listen, it's crazy. TikTok is killing the game. I ain't even mad at it. Now. I think it's probably going to change because I think they will figure out some sort of partnership.
So does that make you and I see where you're going. I just want to ask this quick question though. Do you two or should we, as people, users, or let's keep it a buck, black folks in general, should we feel some kind of way that TikTok and Trump have decided to team up?
Yes.
And what does that mean?
Should. Yes. Yes. And yes. And yes.
I'm not going to say that TikTok won't grow, but it's not growing here anymore. It's going to be different here because there are folks that just because, and this isn't necessarily the creators who are on there who are using it and making money from it. I'm talking about the actual users. There are people, I've heard people say this. Oh, if this is a Trump thing, I want nothing to do with it, and I'm deleting my account. People have already come out and said they've deleted their TikTok account because they don't want anything to do with Trump. They're not talking about anything to do with the Chinese Communist Party. They're talking about they don't want anything to do with Trump. So just because there's, that number of people is going to decrease the reach. And then, of course, what ByteDance is not going to do, they're not going to sell the algorithm. Like, hey, you want to take TikTok and do what you can do. You can approximate the algorithm on your own, figure something out. In Texas over there, or Oracle, y'all can figure this out. But you're not getting our magic. You're not getting our abracadabra sauce, as my daughter used to say. You're going to have to create your own. So I think that if they can't get the algorithm right, then you're going to see people start to move off and do other things. And we like to. I knew this show was going to be entirely about TikTok, and and rightfully so. This is the biggest thing in tech this year, and really for the last since we heard this thing back in back in April that it was going to happen. We knew this was going to be a big story. I do want to say this though. Because Steph, you said it on a couple hit pieces, and then also I've been saying it, and a lot of people saying it. Lamar's been saying this. It's like, y'all, if you are only on TikTok, and the thing you're doing now is that I literally see people in tears.
I love you. I love you. You are crusading. You just said it enough, man. People gonna get it. They gonna get it. The people ain't gonna get it. They ain't gonna get
y'all better think about something else.
So you thought I was probably gonna go with the email, which is what I usually say. I'm just saying you got to diversify. You cannot we don't just
your bonds.
You there are people who are watching this right now, listening to us right now, who are either doing it, they're doing it on YouTube. That's not the only place you can get the show. There are literally dozens of places you can get our show. So if YouTube was to go down tomorrow, we don't lose most of our listeners. We lose a good bit of them, but we don't lose most of them. Because we are diversified in other places. So it's like y'all, if you're running a business, you cannot put all your eggs in one basket, particularly when they pass a law. Like this is where I'm having a people who feel like this just snuck up on them. If your business, if you are making money off of TikTok and this is what you are doing for a living, when the government in the country that you live in tells you, oh yeah, we are banning this company if they don't do these things, that's that is your chance to start figuring something else out.
That's your cue.
And folks who are like I'm hearing, it's like, what am I supposed to do? I literally have deadlines and I cannot do my work. I can't get my work out of CapCut right now. Did you just find out yesterday that the ban was going to, be put in place? It's like, what are you doing? It's like, you should have had something else there. And I know I'm preaching to the choir a little bit on that, but it's like, y'all, come on, you got to be a little bit more professional than that. You cannot have a government of the country you live in tell you that they're going to do something that you just don't believe is going to happen. Even though a lot of us didn't think this was going to happen, you still have to put yourself in a situation to where you're protected. And like, I feel bad for some of these folks, but it's like, there are other folks who have figured out, oh, I went to Filmora. Or I went to DaVinci. DaVinci's free. I can't do everything I was doing, but I can still get the work done.
And to, we got to allow a little bit of grace with that as well, because some of these creators are young people. Some of them are minors, some of them are children, some of them are, young adults, and they're not thinking about it from a truly entrepreneurial mindset. They had a video go viral on TikTok. They all of a sudden got 1 million followers, and they're just doing their best to take advantage of that 1 million followers. Like, now I can monetize on TikTok and make some money to feed my family or do whatever I need to do. They hadn't really thought through the idea of themselves as a business entity
owner.
Yeah. And that I need. So take this with the love that is being given, everybody out there listening, because we don't have that luxury anymore to just, randomly blow up one day and think I'm going to be a TikToker, and that's your only game plan and strategy and goal. You have to be more strategic than that if you are in fact looking to become a creator. Now, TikTok can be your platform of choice, but you still have to be more strategic in your thinking and how you're navigating, because you are a business at this point. If you want to be a creator, you have to think of yourself as a business and handle your business accordingly.
Right. So we have a lot of new folks. I'm looking at the chat right now. So we got some new folks in our live stream. So once again, welcome and thank you for being here. And Tech Life Steph, I want to thank you for doing this. You actually came up with a spotlight this week. I wasn't even thinking about it, but you're like, hey, Rob, if we're going to actually show the world what we do inside the live stream and the after party, let's show them all that we do. So you came up with a spotlight for this week. So can you tell folks about the Black Inventors Hall of Fame Museum?
Yes, I can. Hold on one second. Let me get my little document together here. So there is a North Jersey resident raising money for a $27 million museum celebrating Black inventors. James Howard owns a vintage Thermo King truck and a 19th century clothes wringer. Collecting these antique items is not simply fulfilling the passion of a hobbyist. It is part of his mission to put Black inventors like himself in the spotlight. Ellen Eglin created a special type of clothes wringer, and Frederick McKinley Jones designed the first portable air cooling unit for trucks and co-founded the Thermo King Company, They are some of the people Howard plans to feature in the Black Inventors Hall of Fame Museum and STEAM Learning Center that he envisions opening at the end of 2026. He also plans to put those items on display in the new museum, a $27 million facility that will encompass over 100,000 square feet and include 4 exhibition halls, an auditorium, and a library, along with the STEAM Learning Center. The museum will be in West Orange at the site of the former Mayfair Farms Banquet Hall. Since 2020, Howard, 65, has overseen the Black Inventors Hall of Fame website, which pays tribute to African Americans whose inventions have had an immense impact on society, but who have been overlooked in the history books. Howard's goal for the museum and learning center is to continue the work he has been doing with the website and to inspire future generations of Black youth interested in being inventors. Quote, "It's important because all too often the story is truly sequestered. said Howard, a Dover resident. It is oppressed. It is oftentimes told, but not to the degree of credit that it ought to be told. Today's underserved youth have the same aspirations as their white counterparts, he said, but at the end of this journey, in terms of careers and innovation and invention and STEAM and engineering, their representative percentage is appalling, absolutely appalling, and is just not proportionate to the makeup of this country. So my goal is to create a place that can inspire youth of all kinds, white, black, or indifferent, but particularly those youth who need to see someone that looks like them to be inspired to higher goals. Howard, a Chicago native, recently spoke to NorthJersey.com about what inspired him to start the museum and its progress. So what is the Black Inventors Hall of Fame? It's a nonprofit 501c3 organization that was started in the throes of the COVID pandemic in 2020. It started initially as a website that would gather information on Black inventors. It sort of serves as a virtual presence. It did not take long in my journey to discover that the higher mission needed to be a dedicated building. So for the last 3 years, it's been just that: research and concerted efforts on behalf of my board to produce the country's first museum dedicated exclusively to immortalizing the pioneering genius of African-American inventors. So the idea came to him because there have been seeds planted throughout his career. He is an inventor himself. He has over 20 patents and have designed over 400 products. And there have been incidents throughout his career that have both consciously and unconsciously prepared him for this moment. So what is the current state of the museum project? The museum, when it's done, will cost $27 million, if not a little more. The average cost for a museum of this quality is anywhere from $200 to $300 per square foot. The STEAM Learning Center will be 2 upper floors. The annex will have 4 major exhibition halls divided into 4 different industry sectors. The Mayfair itself will have 2 major exhibition rooms. One will be devoted to constantly turning over new exhibits, and the other is going to be devoted to showcasing the amazing contributions of African-American inventors in the toy and gaming industry. We are under contract. I have been able to raise money for due diligence. The town is behind us. I just have to do all of my due diligence and go through the vetting of the space. This is a major acquisition. We're talking not 1, but 2 buildings, the existing building and the annex that I plan to build. We are about halfway through our due diligence phase of working with the inspectors and working with engineers and planners. I have a pledge for $20 million from another investor who has made millions on his inventions. That's my major benefactor. That has given me the impetus to go into this agreement. I have been fundraising for the last year and a half and wind up having numerous corporate commitments. I have a couple of senators who have also pledged to get behind the museum. The website for the organization is www.bihof.org, bihof.org, and you can learn more about Black inventors and also contribute to the Black Inventors Hall of Fame Museum.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Ain't nothing like how he said he had an investor to put up 20 mil. Ain't nothing like having a head start.
Right. Money in hand, cash in hand.
Yeah, that definitely helps. So I look forward to seeing what becomes of this.
I know. And West Orange is not too far from me. So if we can get this popping, I'll definitely take a little field trip and get some content and some footage and talk about it on the show.
Absolutely. So y'all, we are coming to the end of the show, and we're going to go through our last things. But I do want to let everybody know that the show doesn't end here. We're going to end the actual podcast, but for everybody who is listening, there is an after party. So we're going to go for another 10, 15 minutes and just talk about whatever. So just want to let you know that the show is not ending for anybody who's new and doesn't know that the after party comes after the actual Tech Jawn ends. So with that, Tech Life Steph, can you tell folks how they can get at you?
You can follow me all around the web at Tech Life Steph, or sign up for my newsletter at stephaniehumphrey.com.
And you can find me all over the internet, well, with the exception of maybe TikTok. I think I'm one of those people that feel some kind of way. If in fact Trump and TikTok are now bosom buddies, I may be one of those people to feel some kind of way. So right now, you can find me all over the internet. And maybe TikTok, I'll keep it. I ain't gonna undelete it. I'm a log out because my kids, they send me TikTok, so I gotta make sure I open up those videos. But You can find me all over the internet with the exception of TikTok at Brother Tech. That's BROTHATECH.
And before I do my call out, for those who are listening, the Tech Jawn is supported in a great way by our patrons. For those who have gone over to patreon.com/the Tech Jawn, the Tech JWN, or those who have gone to the Tech Jawn, the Tech JWN.com/Patreon. Either one of those links will get you access to our Patreon. So if you would like to support the show, you will always be able to watch us do the live stream. You will always get to be able to, hang out with us in the after party where we just talk about whatever. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. So once again, thank you for everybody who's supporting. Anybody new who decides to become a patron, we appreciate you supporting the show. I am on all things at Rob Dunwood, and we're also at all things at the Tech Jawn. So reach out to us and we'll holler at you next week. Peace.
Hey.
Good show. Yeah, we got some new faces out here. So I wanted to get right to it. What was your boy Snoop doing on stage at this inauguration?
Yo, he played himself. He literally put the side by side of him.
So let's just what did he actually perform at? Was the inauguration or was it something
the night
associated?
Okay. It was last night. Okay. Some event last night, but they literally put the video side by side where he was in 2016 calling black folks all kind of jigaboos and sellouts, Toms, and you ain't and you and just like ice grilling in the camera, and then him right at the event.
And it looks so sad. We're talking about Snoop. We're talking about Snoop. Now, if anybody has seen Snoop in concert, he does a show. He is a performer. My man was standing behind a DJ table by himself, looking pitiful in a tuxedo by himself.
Yeah. Nobody was paying attention.
What was he doing? Just running? Was he DJing? Was he performing? Yes, what was he doing?
Because no one was with him. He was completely alone. He was running the turntable as he was rapping to his greatest hits.
It was so sad looking. I'm like, what do they have on Snoop? Because I can't see any amount of money that would have made him do that after the rant he went on for, 8 years ago. Like, they got one of your peoples in jail. You trying to get him out. Like, what's going on? Because
maybe he thought. Maybe he arrived is not the right word, but maybe he thought he was untouchable because of his quote unquote newfound success. He was out there with the Olympics,
right?
And he did the Super Bowl back when who did Dr. Dre when they did the whole West Coast thing.
Mm-hmm.
He performed on that, the whole Martha Stewart thing. There was something else. It was the Olympics and it's something.
Yeah, I'm sure he definitely feel like he's untouchable, but you ain't.
Saray is asking if it was foul play. Did they threaten his family? I don't know, sir, because it's like is vehemently against performing at the first inauguration back when Trump was first elected president. You would think that he would have even said, all money ain't good money. My name is on this. I'm not going to go and do these things.
Well, is it because a woman supported Trump by agreeing to perform at his inauguration the first time in Chrisette Michele? That it was all, this is not cool. This is not right. This is not what we're supposed to do. But now with some dudes, Snoop and Nelly to a certain extent.
You
got to absolutely. There's absolutely a double standard happening because I don't know that they're getting a pass per se, but the level of vitriol is definitely less now than it was when she did it. She's still canceled. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and I don't know that we're going to see that same thing, that same kind of energy directed at both of them. Everybody already is like, well, Nelly got a kid on the way. He need the money. Regardless, you know what I mean? It's like
Chrisette Michele is not nearly as big as Snoop. I don't know that she was even. It
don't matter. The sentiment was we don't mess with him. Right. Now you mess with him. Now it's well, I mean, he's the president, so now you got to do what you got to do, and
Right.
he won, so we
will always find a way to excuse men.
Nelly might
or some
get some flack on this. Snoop is gonna get it right now until he do the next thing. I think he's so big that I won't say he's untouchable, but this ain't gonna be the thing. This is not going to be the thing.
It's not, unfortunately. It's not going to be the thing that brings him down and removes him from public consciousness and, anything like that. But it's unfortunate that this is the example you chose to say. I mean, not that Snoop is anybody's role model or complete whatever, but it's unfortunate that this was the hill you chose to die on.
When I'm looking at the video, I was like, is this AI? Is this really him? Is this really what he's doing? And what it is that it's like, literally people are saying like, Snoop, you can withstand this. I can't be on stage with you. I can't be up there spitting the turd with you.
Yeah, and that's why I think he was up there by himself. I absolutely think that's why he was up there by himself.
All money ain't good money. So, I did say when we did this show, there is a national championship game that starts in about 12 minutes. So I'm not going to keep everybody. So before we jump, I just want to get
you're not going to keep everybody. You're going to let us go.
I'm going to let you go. I just got to ask one question. Who you got? Are you paying attention to the game?
Because I know I'm assuming. My assumption is you got Ohio State, so I'm assuming.
So this is what I would say. John Cooper did not. He told me when I had an official visit in '89 to the Ohio State University, and I was told to my face, "You will redshirt your freshman year," and that was the end of my love for Ohio State. And I've been consistent. So I live in Ohio, so I'm down the street, literally from the university. So I'm aware of what's going on, but I'm not an Ohio State fan, even though I went to grad school there.
Having said that, who you got?
I have Ohio State in a blowout, or I just don't think that Notre Dame can score enough points. They don't pass the ball, and you're going to have to score points against Ohio State. So because of that, I'm looking at the talent. I believe that Ohio State is significantly more talented than Notre Dame, unless Ohio State plays like they play against Michigan, because it's a big game now, and they just decide they're going to just try to run the ball all the time. If Notre Dame keeps it close, I like Notre Dame, but I just don't think they can keep it close, and I think that they'll have to get into a shootout, which they're just not designed to do. They do not throw the ball well. So I like Ohio State by a lot. I got Ohio State by like 13.
I'm Notre Dame because I'm born and raised in Indiana. So go Notre Dame.
Yeah. And I even though Marcus Freeman did play at Ohio State, I wouldn't be mad at Marcus Freeman winning a national championship either.
Steph, is a NCAA college championship, which I didn't watch any of the games this season because I'm not a collegiate sports fan, but I looked up and said, "Oh, Notre Dame has made it to the championship. Go Fighting Irish."
I guess I need to watch it now.
So once again, anyone who is not a regular patron that is listening to us in the after party, we usually do our after parties a little bit longer. But like I said, I did promise everybody, since we was doing this special one, I was going to let everybody get off and go watch this national championship game for those who want to partake in that. But once again, thank you for hanging out with us. You can always check the show out on any of our channels. We're pretty much everywhere when it comes to listening to the actual podcast. It'll go up sometime tomorrow afternoon. Terrence, you'll get this video up at some point and kind of go from there. But thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out with us. Enjoy the rest of your Martin Luther King Day, and we will see you again in a week's time.
Bye.